Hi, welcome to Our Highest Work, a podcast where we are exploring the best ideas for spiritually based business and life success. My name is George Kao, and in today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you some of my favorite ideas from a book I just finished reading called Executive Toughness. The book is by Jason Selk, S-E-L-K, and it's a book that is for everyone and anyone who is interested in, and passionate about personal growth, about self-improvement, about creating optimal habits to realize the ideal life that you dream of. So it's not just for executives, although many executives do benefit from this book. And I'm going to be speaking as if you are a business owner, because that's most of the folks listening to this podcast are either business owners or aspiring business owners. And so I'll talk from that point of view, but even if you aren't, I think you'll get a lot out of this episode. Okay, so first of all, I do want to say I encourage you to go and check out the book. Get it from the library or get a sample chapter from Amazon Kindle. But check out the book and, of course, watch this episode and see if you connect with it. But I'm only going to share with you probably 50% of the great ideas in the book, just for lack of time, and also I don't want to overwhelm you in one episode. And also I'm going to be sharing with you my perspective about the ideas. So this isn't an exact book summary. It's more my perception of what's coming through from the author. And I should say it's my customization, sort of putting the lens of my life experience and business experience on top of the ideas of this book. And so you're hearing it from my perspective. So do read the book to get a more pure view of what the author is trying to say. Okay. All right. A lot to go through, so I'll just kind of get started here. And this is what I'm sharing is a series of tools, a series of ideas, and then a series of tools, which are exercises to do and habits to create. And the idea here is it probably won't be a good idea to try to implement all of the exercises and create all the habits immediately after this episode. But I do encourage you to listen for one or two things that you actually want to implement immediately. If you can, just pick one. And then once you implement that, then come back to this episode and implement another one until you layer successful habits upon another successful habit. Make sense? Okay, let's get going. So the first idea, breakthrough, and I should say, one more thing I should say is that the reason why I'm so excited about this book is because it puts together into one place, in very simple language, some of the most powerful tools that I've been using in my own life for more than 10 years. And I love how this author puts it into one book in simple and understandable, readable language. So the first idea is to clarify the top 3 areas of your life. Okay. And it's important to just clarify the top 3, not the top 5, not the top 10. Okay. The top 3. And the reason that the author gives, and I agree with him, is that it's based on what he calls channel theory, meaning our brains really only have, well, some people say we can only focus on one thing at a time. Well, he says, sort of in a broader overview way, we can think about 3 things. Not surprisingly, the number 3 comes up a lot in religion, right? Even in natural things, we tend to notice 3 patterns in 3. Our minds are somehow have evolved or been designed to think in terms of 3s. 3 is a significant number for us, and it's one that's easy for us to grasp. It's enough 3 is enough to encompass some complexity, but not so much that it overwhelms us, right? So pick the top 3 areas of your life. And if you don't pick and focus on the top 3 areas of your life, the distractions of life are like weeds that grow very naturally, and they will choke out your top priorities if you don't keep focused on them. Okay? And it may seem so simple. Well, top 3, well, it's obvious to me. I think about them all the time, not in the way that this book is going to teach you, and not in this way that this episode is going to teach you. Okay, so for example, my top 3 at this current time are spiritual growth, healthy living, and true livelihood. Spiritual growth, healthy living, and true livelihood. What I mean by them is spiritual growth is really growing in deepening connection with the divine in my life, as well as which is ultimately about growing in various virtues, from faith to generosity to courage to humility to joy to compassion, that kind of stuff. So for me, spiritual growth is about connection with the divine, sort of strengthening that connection, and the growth in virtues, which is the fruits of the strengthening of my connection with the divine, is watching the virtues in my life blossom, right? So that's spiritual growth. Healthy living, my second one is, and by the way, it is important to not only pick the top 3 priorities, but to list them in order of importance. This is really important to list them in a certain order, because if you don't list them in a certain order, it's hard sometimes to make a decision. If one thing conflicts with another thing, which happens a lot in our lives, like should I decide on this or decide on that? You can bring to mind again your top 3 priorities and in order, and say, all right, does it conflict with number 1? Okay. If it doesn't, does it conflict with number 2? If it doesn't conflict with number 3. Okay. All right. Healthy living is physical and emotional health, right? So physical health is things like getting enough sleep, taking enough naps, eating healthy food, getting enough exercise, very, very important. And emotional health is getting enough hugs and sort of one-to-one personal contact with loved ones and friends, laughing, okay? So those are emotional health tools, like sort of some of the core ones, right? And the third one for me is true livelihood, which is, am I making true progress on creating a career that is not only financially viable, but emotionally fulfilling and mentally challenging, right? The true livelihood. Am I truly serving the world with my talents? Okay. Okay, so what are your top 3? Some of the other ones people might include are family, especially if you have kids, or if you live with your grandkids or whatever, or you're close to them, kids, grandkids. I don't have any kids, human kids. I've got a puppy and 2 cats, and they're important to me. But for some people, they have human kids, and that's really important. So family might be one of them. Another one might be, a certain hobby that's really important to you, a personal hobby, personal project. Another top thing might be money, finances, right? I'm grateful to say that I did focus on that earlier in my life, and I've gotten into really, really good habits with my money and finances, so it's no longer a top 3 priority. But for some of you, you may want to elevate it to your top 3 so you can focus on it for the next year. Remember, your top 3 priorities aren't priorities for the rest of your life. Okay, this is important as well. It's your top 3 priorities at this time. And I would encourage you to focus on it. For your top 3 shouldn't be changing every day. You may want to change it every 3 months, maybe every 6 months, maybe once a year, okay? But it's not forever. It should last at least 3 months, okay, the top 3 priorities. Okay, so if you want to share with me what your top 3 priorities are, if you want to share as part of the thread of this episode, the public discussion of this episode, I'd be honored and grateful for you to share that. And I think others will benefit from you sharing what your top 3 are, because each one of us may have a different top 3. And so if you share yours, it probably will give other people an idea of what their top 3 could be. So I do encourage you to, if you're just listening to this, come to the episode notes page. You can find, if you're just listening to this, you can find our website at ourhighestwork.com and either find the video for this episode or find the Facebook thread for this episode in our Facebook group and comment on what your top 3 priorities probably are at this time. And you're not committing just by posting it, but you are saying, well, this is probably what my top 3 are. Okay. So let us know. All right. The next concept I want to share with you, and this will build upon each other until the conclusion. Okay. So the next concept I want to share with you is the importance of self-communication. Self-communication. What you consistently say to yourself is what self-communication is. And if you do not manage what you consistently say to yourself, you will allow the world to manage your subconscious self-image. Okay, let me kind of break that down a little bit. And let me say, I'm particularly talking in terms of the success that you want to reach in your life. And what is success? Success is not what the world determines as success. Success is not making 6 figures, unless that's somehow part of your definition of success. Success is not becoming a billionaire or even a millionaire. Success is not power and fame. It could be for you, but you get to define what success means to you. And I guess this is an image. This is a concept before self-communication. Is your top 3 priorities. Okay, that is your definition of success. To do well in your top 3 priorities in life. Okay. And by the way, some of you are maybe thinking to yourself, well, I have more than 3, George. I also have this and I have this and this. That's fine. But if you want to achieve well-being and thriving in at least the top 3 priorities, well, let me ask you, how is it going focusing on more than 3? Okay. I'll be honest with you is that from the past couple of years, I've been trying to focus on 5. And I always thought, well, 5 is good because, I have 5 fingers and on each hand and I can kind of look through them. But I've always still had some trouble with 5. And so I'm so glad that this book is bringing me back to the top 3. So I want to encourage you again, define success as thriving in your top 3 priorities first. And once you thrive in your top 3 priorities, you can then attend to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, however many you want. But you've got to first prioritize and thrive in the top 3. Okay. So now let's talk about self-communication. If you don't manage what you say to yourself in your head, and sometimes vocally out loud, either to yourself in private or even to other people about yourself, if you don't manage that, your own negativity, which is negativity, by the way, is like weeds. Negativity grows and grows. It's easy because it's in society, it's in the media, it's in our human circles, people around us. We have evolved, this is important, as humanity, we have evolved over hundreds of thousands of years to focus on problems and to focus on the negative, focus on what's still lacking. That's normal for Homo sapiens. It's normal. It's part of our wiring, is to focus on the negative, to focus on what's lacking, because in our hundreds of thousands of years of evolution, most of that time, we've had to be aware of saber-toothed tigers eating us and other predators eating us. We've had to be aware of droughts and famines, okay? We've had to be aware of our kids not getting enough nutrition and dying, not like today where, obesity is a problem. In most of our evolution, we've had to worry about our loved ones actually dying for lack of food, lack of water, fear of predators. Okay, lack of shelter, warmth, that kind of stuff. So, of course, only in the last couple hundred years, maybe a couple thousand, but primarily last couple hundred years, has humanity come to a place where most of us, I should say this, most of us watching this and listening to this aren't worried about life or death of food, water, shelter, warmth, that kind of thing, right? Predators, right? Security. But remember that it is normal for you to be negative, to think about problems, to think about lack, to think about having low self-confidence because you have to be in fear, okay? It's natural. It's part of your wiring. However, the amazing, wonderful truth about humanity also is that we have a consciousness that is able to reshape our wiring. I will tell you that I used to be a more negative person. I used to focus on problems. I used to have low self-esteem. Can you believe it, right? If you saw me in grade school, in high school, and college, I was a very insecure person. I would be so afraid of doing a video like that. Actually, even 3 years ago, I was not willing to do videos because I was so self-conscious about how I looked. I don't think I'm handsome and all that stuff, right? I don't think I sound good or whatever. I have reshaped my wiring over the years. And if I can do it, so can you. And not just me. Lots of humanity has reshaped their wiring. And you also have, by the way, reshaped your wiring based on continued repetition. That's the key. Repetition towards what you want to behave as will reshape your wiring so that that becomes natural now. That becomes the new normal. So that's what I hope this episode will inspire you to realize, is that any vision of yourself that you want to be, any kind of confident, courageous, loving, humble, wise person that you want to be, successful person you want to be, you absolutely can reshape your wiring so that you become that new normal. And once you get to that new normal, you can serve humanity with much greater impact, much greater fulfillment, much greater balance and flow, right? So the first tool is, again, determining your top 3 priorities, okay? And not letting any other weeds of negativity and the distraction of other people's requests of your current schedule. Oh, I don't have time. Nonsense. You have the same amount of time as Albert Einstein, as Martin Luther King, as Mother Teresa, as whoever figure you want to name, popular figure you want to name. One of the people that I'm admiring these days, Elizabeth Warren. Whoever popular figure that gets a lot of stuff done, you want to name. Sheryl Sandberg, the CEO of Facebook. Okay, you have as much time as they do. You have as much time, but they choose to say no to certain people, to certain requests. They choose to prioritize their top priorities, and that's how they're able to achieve their level of success. So you can too. Okay, so top 3 priorities. Next, second is self-communication. Manage what you consistently say to yourself. So the idea is this, and I'm going to give you tools for doing this. When it comes to self-communication, think about a thermostat. A thermostat is the temperature control you have in your home, or most buildings, commercial buildings have a thermostat that controls the temperature. For example, if the temperature is set, programmed at 70 degrees Fahrenheit, then if it gets colder, if it gets to 69, 68, the heater will kick in and warm up the building until it's back to 70 or 71. Okay. If the building gets to 72, 73, 74 degrees, the cooler, right, air conditioning will kick in to cool down the building to 70 degrees again. You have a inner thermostat for your success. And that inner thermostat is your self-communication, okay? Your inner thermostat will automatically regulate your behaviors, your motivation, your energy level, and even some might say it'll magnetize, it'll somehow energetically attract to you good luck and bad luck, okay? Your inner thermostat will actually regulate your life so that you match your self-communication about who you are and what you can achieve, okay? All right, one example. You may have heard this before as well. This is a really powerful example. Did you know that people who win the lottery, people who win millions or even tens of millions of dollars, people who win the lottery, many of them declare bankruptcy within 5 years of winning the lottery. What? I mean, they were, average people. A lot of them were probably not doing well financially, which is probably why they played the lottery. Okay, most people who are wealthy and who are doing financially adequately, most people don't play the lottery. Okay, it's because they know the odds of, it's 1 in 13 million that you're going to win something. Okay, the odds are very, very true, very, very good that you're going to lose money over time. But they win the lottery, so they're extremely lucky. They're 1 out of 10 million people to actually, 1 out of 10 million, people giving away money to actually win a bunch of money back. Okay, they declare bankruptcy within 5 years. Many of them do, and maybe I don't know. What I read was many of them. It could be true that most of them don't stay wealthy over time. Okay, and the reason is because their inner thermostat, their self-communication has been, I'm bad with money. I don't deserve all this stuff, and I don't know what to do with this money. I'm not confident about maintaining my wealth and all that stuff. So, all right. So be aware and take your self-communication very seriously. So let me give you a tool for that. It is the ideal life vision. Okay, the ideal life vision is what you write. Okay, this is important. What you write down and recite to yourself every day for as long as you can until your ideal life vision is achieved. I have done this several times in my life. Okay, and let me tell you how I did it. I wrote down my ideal vision for, I'll give you a couple examples. I wrote down my ideal vision for my life partner, my spouse, that time I was writing my perfect girlfriend or whatever. And I was writing, and I wrote down on a card, on an index card. And I mostly wrote down her inner characteristics because I'm really open-minded about, because I know that what's more important to me is the inner characteristics, right? Not exactly how tall she is, or what kind of hair she has, what color hair and what color eyes. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna if she has the right kind of inner characteristics that inspires me and that supports me and I support her, all that, then that's what matters. So I wrote it down, okay, and I read that twice a day for, I think it was 2 weeks straight. It wasn't that long, but it was at least 2 weeks straight. Twice a day I read that, okay? And each time I read it, I closed my eyes and I imagined this kind of person, okay? She's like this, she's this, again, inner characteristics. If you focus on outer characteristics, and I've actually heard this from more than one person, if you focus on outer characteristics of the perfect spouse or whatever, you'll probably be disappointed because awesome people will come into your life, but they're not exactly the right height or hair color or whatever, and you'll say no. But what we magnetize to us is more of on the energetic level, the vibration, the frequency level. Okay, so I read this twice a week for 2 weeks, and then I kind of got tired of doing it, so I put it away. And lo and behold, okay, within a year, my current wife, we met online. Okay, this is interesting. We met online on a website that's no longer online. It went out of business, that dating website. And that website, I had been on there for 4 years. I had my profile on there for 4 years, and nobody contacted me except her and I think one other person. In those 4 years, I only had 2 people contact me. One person obviously wasn't the right match. And then when she contacted me, I thought, wow, and it was, she didn't have a picture up. She was just, the way that we communicated gave me a sense of her inner characteristics. And what was interesting is that I thought, okay, she could be anywhere in the world because she didn't have those details on her profile. She had some of the inner characteristics on her profile, but not her location. Guess what? Turns out she lived 10 blocks from where I lived at the time. 10 blocks. Actually, she lives in this current house. The current house you're seeing, she actually bought this place. And I lived 10 blocks from here when we first met. Isn't that amazing? And so here we are today. And she is She is those. And what happened was after we met, okay, we were dating for like 6 months, and I found that index card again, and I pulled it out, and my jaw dropped. I'm like, that's her. Okay, so that's one example. Another example, and just let that sink in. It works. It works. I've heard this from more than one person. Another example is my true livelihood. I have been writing my ideal business, and again, the ideal business, you may not want to focus on the external characteristics. Again, you don't want to say, oh, I'm making $10 million a year doing this and this and this. Those are external things. What I wrote down was I am making enough of a living to be able to save, to meet all my expenses, to save for retirement, to have some occasional trips, all that stuff. And I am working with people I love working with. And I wrote down some of those internal characteristics, how I feel about my work. And also I wrote down about my schedule, okay? Because that's within my internal control. I can control my schedule. I can't always control how much income I am making. Well, technically I can, but I'd rather control what's more important is how I feel about my work, how much I love it, and also my schedule so that I have time for the other things in my life. Wrote those things down. And I've done periods of this over time. I think every couple of years I'll be serious again about writing it down. At one point, I actually wrote down my life vision about my work. Every single day, I rewrote it every single day for at least 2 weeks, okay? Because I was serious. And as I rewrote it, I was imagining it. Okay. And then I put it away. And then now when I read it, I'm like, here it is. Here's my ideal life. I have plenty of time. I get to do stuff like this for free. I get to serve the world. I love serving the world. I have make enough money to pay all my bills and have retirement savings, go on occasional, all that stuff. And so self-communication. So the tool here is, what is your ideal life vision? And I'll give you a couple of questions to answer. Okay, so here they go. And what I'll do is I'm gonna put notes as part of this episode that will include some of this stuff, but just to give you a sense of what do you write down. Okay, so what kind of people are you working with? Okay, how are you being when you are with them? Okay, what kind of virtues are you expressing? How are you feeling? Okay, are you being recognized for your work, and how are you being recognized? Okay, what is your schedule like? How much money are you making? Yes, and I'll tell you this, it has been very helpful for a lot of people to put in a specific amount of their income. So don't be afraid to do that. If the higher the amount you put, of course, the longer it may take to get to you. So if I'm making $10 million a year, and right now you're making $10,000 a year, and you want to make $10 million a year, yes, you can say that, but it may take you 20 years to get there. And you'll probably lose patience within 3 months of doing this, to say, I'm not making $10 million a year yet. So I don't think it's realistic to put this huge number, but it is realistic to say, if you're making $50,000 a year right now, you could say, all right, I'm making $75,000 a year. And if you keep saying this, you probably will achieve that within a year. Okay. And then once you get to 75,000, you can say, all right, now I'm making 125,000 a year. And then probably within a year or two, you'll get there. Okay. So manage your self-communication in a way that it is a stretch, but not fantasy. What can be fantasy now, get this, what can be fantasy is the internal life stuff. I am completely happy. I am courageous. I'm compassionate. Even though right now you may not feel that way, but those kinds of internal characteristics can be transformed relatively quickly. I think more quickly than the external stuff that is harder, it's more set in stone. The financial numbers, the actual literal place where you live, that kind of stuff. Okay. Okay. So what else? What other things might inspire you for your ideal life vision is what your environment looks like. Okay. What types of people? I think I mentioned what types of people are you serving. Who are you living with? And what is the experience of your life together? Maybe you like to dance together, or you like to laugh together, or you like to go watch certain shows together, or you like to go on certain trips together, or the things you like to do at home, cook, whatever you like to do together, okay? Write that down as part of your ideal life vision as well. Now, what is also helpful is to have an inspiring but achievable time to achieve these things. So within a year, I am blah blah blah, and put an actual date to it. By January 2016, I am living this type of life. Okay. Now, make the external stuff more realistic, a stretch but realistic. Make the internal characteristics, the feelings, as ideal as you want. Okay. Now, the next step is trim your ideal vision so that you can read it in 2 minutes. Trim your ideal vision so you can read it in 2 minutes. And you say, well, George, what do I leave out if my thing is like takes 5 minutes to read out loud? Leave out anything that's not in your top 3. Okay, leave out anything that's not in your top 3 priorities. Now, if you still have more than 2 minutes, leave out anything else that's not in the most important parts of your top 3 priorities. Okay, and also it's really, really, really important is part of your life vision should include your own behavior. I see myself doing this. So for example, if healthy living is one of your top 3, you can say, I see myself enjoying a daily brisk 30-minute walk in my local park. Okay. I see myself shutting down the computer at 9 p.m. and starting to wind down for bedtime. You actually, part of your ideal vision is it's very important to visualize what you see yourself doing that leads you to the kind of life you want to have. Okay. Very, very important. Now, your ideal life vision should be read at least once a day. Now, I did it twice a day. I was following the age-old advice of Napoleon Hill from Think and Grow Rich, right? He says twice. I think he says 3 times a day, but I read it twice a day. I encourage you to read it at least once a day. Try for twice a day if you can. First thing in the morning or in the morning sometime, and at night before you go to bed. Studies have shown that first thing in the morning, what you do the first thing in the morning after you get up and use the restroom or whatever, what you do, get a drink of water. First, what you do first thing in the morning and what you do before you go to sleep, okay, before you have lights out, are extremely important for priming your mind, and I would say priming your self-communication. So you really want to think about doing it at those times. Also, put it into your schedule to revisit your ideal life vision every 3 months. And so you can update it, okay? Because your life's going to change. It's actually you'll notice it changing as you keep reading your ideal life vision and managing your self-communication. Okay, next tool I'm going to share with you is what I call the key process goals, or KPG. Okay, extremely important. There are 2 types of goals. The first type is what the book calls product goals. The second type is called process goals. Can you guess what these 2 things mean? Process goals, as you might imagine, is your goals for certain behavior. Okay. Product goals is sort of end goals. I want to make X amount of dollars per month, per year. I want to have this many clients. I want to lose this many pounds. Okay, those are product goals. Those are sort of like the end goals. Process goals are things like, if I want to lose 10 pounds, that means I need to do 30 minutes of brisk walking every single day. Okay, that's a process. So the process goal is 30 minutes brisk walking every day. The product goal is 10 pounds lost within 3 months. Does that make sense? Okay, product goals usually have a number attached to it. Actually, I should say always have some number attached to it so you can see whether you got there, and also has some kind of time frame attached to it. A number and a time frame. Process goal is you can actually track that behavior on a regular basis to say, did I accomplish that daily behavior or that weekly behavior? Okay. Now, it's really important to define your success not only with product goals, such as I am now making $150,000 a year by year 2017 or whatever it may be for you. Okay, that's a product goal, but also to define your success in terms of process goals. I am reaching out to 2 prospective clients or 2 prospective referral partners each 5 days a week. Okay, that's a process goal. Does that make sense? Because Process goals are easy or achievable every single day, whereas product goals are somewhere in the future. And oftentimes, if you focus only on the product goals, the end goals, it can feel overwhelming. I feel like I'm not getting there. I said I'm going to make 150,000 by January 2016, but I'm not there yet. But the question is, are you meeting your process goals every day? So I like to call them KPGs. This is not from the book. I'm just making this up. I like this phrase. Key process goals, your most important process goals, okay, are achievable. And as you do them every day, you experience success. Yes, because success is defined not just as product goals, but your process goals. And I would say, and the book also says this, even though you create product goals, you create end goals, you emphasize your daily process goals. You have a product goal, but you emphasize your KPGs, your key process goals, because as you do them, you experience success, you build your confidence, you build your capabilities, and it allows you to focus on the behaviors that create the life you want to live, okay? And also KPG, key process goals, allows you to prune away the distractions of your life. What is a distraction? Anything that is not a KPG until the KPG has been done for that day. Let me say this again. If you haven't yet done your key process goals for today, everything else must be postponed. Okay, now, there's actually a principle to this. It's usually a good idea to schedule your process goals as early in the day as possible so that you can get them done and feel that win, feel that success, which then makes your rest of the day even better. However, if for some reason you are a night owl and one of your process goals to write for 20 minutes and your best ideas come at 12 a.m. when you're being a night owl, or 3 a.m. or whatever it may be, then fine. You need to schedule your writing time, your brilliant writing time for that time, okay? If that really works, if that schedule really works for you. But for most people, it works better to do it sometime in the first part of the day when our willpower is highest. When we've gotten enough sleep and our willpower is highest, that's when you do your key process goals so that you can finish them and then get on with the rest of your day, okay? So create one. Now, the author says create up to three key process goals for each of your top 3 priorities. Remember the top 3 priorities you came up with earlier? I would say create one. Okay, so this is what I do. On a document, write down what are all the behaviors that you need to do on a regular basis to thrive in each of your top 3 priority areas. For example, if healthy living is one of your top 3, okay, so I'll just say from me, healthy living is my top 3, and the key behaviors for healthy living that if I achieve them on a regular basis allows me to thrive in my health include, starting to head into bed, lights out between 10:30 and 11 p.m., okay? Lights out between 10:30 and 11 p.m. It includes doing at least 5 30-minute brisk walks every single week, at least 5 every single week. Now that I have a dog, it's much easier because he needs to go on a walk every single day, several times a day. So by the way, if you especially if you work from home, consider getting a dog. If you like animals, if you at least can, you like them okay, or you love them, consider getting a dog. It will increase your health for sure, your physical health, because you have to walk a lot more. Okay, so I list all the behaviors. So, okay, eating at least one. I eat mostly vegetarian, so I eat pretty healthy. But in terms of my snacking, it's easy for me to snack on sweet stuff, salty stuff. Eating at least one vegetable snack or vegetable or fruit snack a day. Okay, so these are things I've written down. Okay, now I use I kind of put it as 3 categories here. One is, have I already habituated certain things? So I've already habituated lights out 10:30 to 11 p.m. That's already a habit. But I still write it down and I just kind of put it in a category of already habituated. The second category is what I want to ritualize or habituate now. The most important key process goal I want to habituate now in the next 3 months, okay? What is that for me? For me right now, that is eating at least one vegetable or fruit snack a day. I still snack on other things I don't want to snack on, so at least one a day. Okay, so that's one habitude right now. And then the third category, the third type of key process goal is waiting list. Other process goals, other behaviors you want to habituate, but you can't focus on too many behaviors per priority. The author says up to 3, I say 1. You do write all these things down, so you kind of have a habit waiting list for each habit, for each priority. Again, for each priority area, write down all the behaviors and categorize all the behaviors as, have you already habituated them, or are you focused on them right now, or are they part of a waiting list? Okay? It's important to have this because even the stuff that you have habituated, you need to have it there so that when you review it once every 3 months, you still ask yourself, is it still a habit? If it's not a habit, if I've gotten out of the habit of something, if I'm now sleeping at 12 a.m., 1 a.m., which I don't want to do, I want to sleep between 10:30 and 11, I need to put that now as the thing I want to habituate now. Does that make sense? Hope it does. And again, any questions you have, I always welcome them. Okay. All right. So, all right, let me now go on to the next concept, which is that if you don't prioritize your KPGs, no one else in your life will. You have to be the one to prioritize your spouse is not going to prioritize it for you. Your boss is not going to. Your coach will help you, but you are the one who has to prioritize your KPGs, okay? Protect your KPGs as if they were appointments with clients. Yes, do your key process goals as if they were client appointments. You don't miss client appointments, do you? Well, I hope you don't, because then you won't have many clients. You keep your client appointments. Well, then why don't you keep the most important process goals in your life? You are your most important client. You are your most important client. Repeat that to yourself. I am my most important client. So if I have a key process goal, I'm going to keep that. That's a client appointment, okay? All right. Let me actually now go on to the next tool, which is pretty powerful. And this is called DSL, Daily Success Log. Daily Success Log. Now, I used to do this for a little bit, but then I fell out of habit, and this book is inspiring me to do it again. It's very powerful. A daily success log allows you to focus in it allows you to focus in a relatively easy way, to keep coming back every single day to your key process goals. So a daily success log is basically, as you can imagine, it's a log. It's a series of documents. I will do this on a spreadsheet so that I can track the numbers and do averages over time. But you can write them on a Post-it note, or you can write them in a notebook, but write them down, okay? So here's what you do on your DSL, your daily success log. First thing, for each of your key process goals, so again, my suggestion is to do one key process goal you're focusing on for each of the top 3 areas of your life. So basically you have 3 key process goals you're focusing on every 3 months, okay? So score of 1 to 10, how well you did the previous day. The daily success log, this is actually a question that I have for myself is, am I going to do it in the morning, or am I going to do it at the end of the day? I'm probably going to do it at the end of my day so that I can have that to say, okay, have I done it? If I haven't done it, I'm going to do it, okay? So I'll probably do it at the end of my day, but you may decide to do it at the beginning of your day. You might want to experiment, but absolutely do it either beginning or end, or I guess it could happen in the middle of the day, but it's kind of weird, just beginning or end. So score of 1 to 10, how well you did on each of your KPGs, okay? Next question. So actually those are 3 questions. First KPG, score of 1 to 10. Second question. Second KPG, score of 1 to 10. Third question. Third KPG, score of 1 to 10. Fourth question is, what did I do well? Actually, so this is actually questions 4, 5, and 6. What did I do well? Write it out. What did I do well with each of my KPGs? Okay, so I am glad that I was able to shut down my computer at 9 p.m. so that I was able to get to bed at 10:30 p.m. or whatever it may be, okay? Even if you're repeating yourself every day, that's okay. Try to notice one different thing you did well for each of your KPGs every day. But if you have to repeat, that's okay too. The importance of writing down in prose, in writing, is guess what? Self-communication. You're communicating to yourself. You're reinforcing, you're celebrating what you did well. So you keep reinforcing, keep wiring, keep making that wire stronger and stronger and stronger, okay? All right, that's questions 4, 5, and 6 is what you did well. Write it out. Just a sentence is fine in each of your KPGs. Question number 7, 8, and 9 is, what one improvement could I make to each KPG? So 7, 8, 9. What one improvement can I make to your top KPG? What's one improvement can I make to my second KPG and third one, okay? And the improvement shouldn't be something dramatic like, oh my gosh, it's not a dramatic life change. It's a doable step. Okay, it's a doable step to say, all right, right now, if I am, if I'm shutting down my computer at 10 p.m., okay, I'm going to improve it, and I'm going to shut it down at 9:45 p.m. the next day. Okay, so something that's doable, right? And questions, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Questions 10, 11, and 12 is how the improvement will be made for each of the things you just listed. This is important. How the improvement will be made will get you to think about, well, how is my life currently structured? And if that thing isn't getting done, if I want to make that improvement, how will I actually do it? So if I want to shut down my computer at 9:45 and I'm currently doing it regularly at 10, does that mean I need to set an alarm? Okay, so that's how. I'm going to set an alarm at 9:45 so I can meet the goal of 9:45 for shutting down that improvement. Does that make sense? So how will the improvement be made? So you basically have these 12 questions. You're answering each one fairly quickly. So the daily success log might take you, let's say you're answering each question in, 20 seconds. That's 240 seconds. That's 4 minutes. So your daily success log can be completed within 5 minutes. Does that make sense? Okay. Without daily evaluation and improvement of your key process goals, you will forget them over time. Why? Because remember, distractions of life are like weeds. They need to keep being pruned. Every single day, you need to prune them if you want to focus on your most important things. Okay, next concept is the quarterly evaluation. The quarterly evaluation is to schedule 30 minutes every 3 months. You actually schedule this into your calendar, okay? So think about when your dates are for your quarterly evaluation. 30 minutes each time. It will be a very powerful personal development journal over time. As you look back, it's going to be awesome. So here are the questions for your quarterly evals. Number 1, and I would say this is questions 1, 2, and 3, right? On a percentage scale, how close are you to reaching your product goal, your end goal for each of your top priorities, okay? Top priority 1, on a scale of 1 to 100, how close are you to reaching it? Top priority 2, scale of 100. Okay, now, questions 4, 5, and 6. What do you need to change, if anything, to help you reach your product goals, okay, for each of your top 3 priorities? That's questions 4, 5, and 6. Questions 7, 8, and 9. How is your KPG going that you've been focusing on for the last 3 months? How is your key process goal going? And you could scale this probably from 1 to 10 is enough. Okay, 1 to 10. That's questions 7, 8, 9. Questions, and actually that's it. Okay. No, question number 10. Question number 10 is if you scored a 9 out of 10 on your key process goals, 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10, what is the treat you will give yourself? So for each of your process goals, if you scored 9 or a 10 out of a scale of 10, how will you treat or reward yourself? Write that down. And then plan to do it in the next 7 days. Okay, so the quarterly evaluation should be ones where you're looking forward to it, because you get to either treat yourself, or if you don't treat yourself, you can at least write down the plan of improvement. Okay? All right, I'm going to share with you, okay, in the next few more minutes, I'm going to go over a bit today, but I'm going to share with you 3 more quick tools. Okay, This is actually, this is a really, really important tool. It's called the daily 3-minute mental workout. The daily 3-minute mental workout. So thus far, on a daily basis, we've got your success log, right, that you're doing probably at the end of each day. We've got your key process goals that you're doing, your 3 key process goals each day. Now we're going to add on one more thing, which is 3 more minutes, okay? Will change your life. 3-minute mental workout. The book actually says 100 seconds. I don't think that's realistic. I think 3 minutes is more realistic. And here's my version of the daily mental workout. First step is to do a centering breath, okay? Do what works for you. What works for me is easy, gradual, deep breath in for 5 seconds. Oh, okay? And then hold for 2 seconds, and then breathe out for 7 seconds. I just do this with my nose, in and out in my nose. Actually, I'm sorry. In, I do with my nose, and out, I do with my mouth, okay? So that's the first step of the 3-minute workout, mental workout. The second step is to read out loud and visualize. Actually, you can either read out loud, or what I actually do is I record it. I record my ideal life vision on my phone. Remember the 2-minute ideal life vision that we talked about earlier today? I record that on my phone, and I listen to it in my ears. Only takes 2 minutes, right? And as I listen to it, I imagine it. I try to conjure up the feelings of how it feels. I try to conjure up the images in my mind for what it looks like as I'm listening through my life vision, and then how it feels, okay? And it needs to be in first person. That's the other thing about the ideal life vision. It can't be, George is doing this, George is doing that. You're like, I see myself doing this. I see myself doing this. My hands are doing this. My feet are doing that. I see myself saying this. I hear myself saying it, okay? First person, and try to feel the emotions. Okay, so those are 2 minutes. And then the next step is for 30 seconds, visualize yourself starting an important project for the day. So as you look at your schedule, what is important for your work today? Maybe you've got to stop procrastinating and work on something for improving your website. Maybe you've got to contact 2 referral partners for today. So visualize yourself doing it for 30 seconds. How are you actually doing it? Are you pulling up your email and typing some words in? What might you be saying? Are you looking at examples of other websites? What are you actually doing? Visualize that for 30 seconds. And you may want to time yourself so that you're time yourself for 30 seconds. Okay, after that, then close off your 3-minute mental workout with another centering breath. If you do this every day, I guarantee you your life will be significantly better within 3 months. So if this has inspired you, okay, promise yourself, and promise me if you'd like, that you will do this daily mental workout. I'm asking just 3 minutes from you per day, okay? Do this for 3 months. Let me know what your life is now like after 3 months, all right? Okay, 2 more quick tools. One is to create your ideal schedule. Now, even if you aren't perfect in reaching it, you at least create it so that you have some idea of what kind of life you want to live, okay? And your ideal schedule, and I'm going to include a link to my ideal schedule. Now, actually, what I'm going to include is my ideal work schedule. It doesn't include all my personal stuff yet. I'm at some later video, I will actually show you my calendar and daily schedule, but I'm not quite ready to do that yet. But your ideal daily schedule needs to include when you do your key process goals, okay? When you do your daily success log, when you do your daily mental workout. Your daily mental workout's probably the first thing of the day, 3 minutes, the first thing after you get up, use the restroom, go get a drink of water, do your 3 minutes of daily mental workout, okay? It may also, your ideal schedule may also include when you prepare for your client appointments, when you are taking 30 minutes or something to study more about your field, to improve your skills, to see what your niche mates are doing so you can see how you can improve yourself and your service to your clients. It could be something you do every day. It could be something you do once a week. I spend 90 minutes once a week on improving my service, my service to my clients, right? Your ideal schedule needs to also include fun time, times for spending quality, loving, fun time with your family and friends, very important. And also your ideal schedule needs to include enough downtime for you during the day, your breaks throughout the day, when you are winding down for bed, okay? Any personal time you need, any naps you need, any exercise you need, very important, okay? Now, your daily schedule needs to include all these things, okay? Because if you don't, you'll forget about them, okay? If you don't see them, you're gonna forget about them, okay? You need to have it in your daily calendar. And if you use a digital calendar like I do, I use Google Calendar. It's free, it's very powerful, it's all available online and on smartphones, okay? The great thing about digital calendar is you can use the repeating function. If I have a daily mental workout, I put that down for, I think the minimum time is, 15 minutes. No, actually, I think I can schedule 5-minute things. But just say, okay, daily mental workout plus, one of your KPGs or something like that. But you schedule that in, you put it on repeater, so you see it every single day, when it comes time for the day, you look at your calendar and says, let me go ahead and do it. Okay, let me go ahead, just do it. Just do it, even though it doesn't feel natural, I'm going to do it. Repeat after me. Even though it doesn't feel natural right now, I'm going to do it. Because if I keep doing it, it will feel natural over time. If I keep doing this, it'll feel natural over time, okay? If it's on a paper calendar, the author of the book actually says, write it down every single day for the next 12 months. Yes, it's that important. Write down the most important things you want to do for yourself, your KPGs, your key process goals, your daily success log, your daily mental workout, your breaks, write them all down for the next 12 months. Now, I prefer to use a digital calendar so I don't have to do so much of this every single day. But okay, one more thing about your ideal schedule. It will take tweaking over time. Okay, right now I'm within my 2-week vacation. That's right. I take 2 weeks of vacation. It's mostly a staycation. I mostly stay home and just do whatever I want. I'm in my 2-week vacation. I decided, hey, I'm going to do this book summary because it's so inspiring me. It's going to make me, I'm trying out a new habit, trying out a new ideal schedule during my 2-week vacation because I have more time. I don't have client appointments. I don't have to do my client stuff, so I have less pressure and I can experiment with a new schedule. So it could take continual tweaking. Okay, even now, 10 years after I've started following my schedule, I'm still tweaking it on a regular basis. So don't be afraid to do that. Okay, final tool I'm going to share with you is a mindset tool that will change your life if you do this. It's called RSF, which is Relentless Solution Focus. Relentless Solution Focus. Okay, stay with me for a bit here. So the first thing about RSF is you have to understand a very simple concept called expectancy theory. Whatever you focus on expands. Whatever you focus on is whatever you expect, and whatever you expect is what expands. Let me say this again. If you continually focus on your problems, your shortcomings, what's not perfect about life, okay, the challenges you have, if you focus on those things and you talk about those things with friends, with your therapist, this is actually, the author totally disagrees, okay, the author of this book totally disagrees with therapies where the client is continually talking more about problems than about solutions. No wonder the author says, I'm not saying if I agree with that or not, no wonder the author says so many people who go into therapy, it doesn't work for them. Whereas people who work with coaches that focus on solutions, focus on process goals, focus on accountability, their life changes, okay? So whatever you focus on is what you expect. Whatever you expect expands. That's expectancy theory. So relentless solution focus, RSF, this tool that this book talks about, will change your life because it'll help you focus on solutions, okay? The challenge, the why we even need to talk about this, as I mentioned, is that evolution of humanity has made our wiring naturally focus on problems. That's why it's so easy to go to a therapist and talk about your problems. That's why it's so easy to talk about challenges. It's why it's so easy to have a low self-esteem, to have low self-confidence. It's easy to. It's not hard to have low self-esteem. It's easy. It's natural. Okay? It's natural to be fearful. It's natural to be sad. Those are all natural things. It's evolution. Okay? It's also, because it's evolution, it's also society. Most people haven't achieved success, the kind of success they want to achieve. And because most people are still following their evolution. They don't realize they can change this by repetition, okay, on what they want. So here's the RSF tool, Relentless Solution Focus. Whenever you find yourself thinking about a problem, wallowing on a challenge, feeling sad, feeling fearful, whenever you find yourself in negativity or thinking about a problem, within 60 seconds, ask yourself the question, what do I want? Instead of what is not happening, what do I want? Question number one. Second question, what is one doable thing I can do to move a little bit closer to what I want? Or a lot closer, depending, but it's got to be a doable thing. Again, when you find yourself, oh, I'm thinking about a problem, I'm thinking about a challenge, I don't want to wallow in it, it's fine to bring it up, but then move immediately to solution. So when you get a problem, a challenge, think about, oh my gosh, okay, here's one type of thinking. Immediately move to the next, just say left or right. Problems, find yourself on the left side of things. Now move to the right. Okay, what is the solution? Okay, solution, the questions I like to ask is, what is better? What do I want? And then what is one doable thing, one doable action to get me closer to what I want? Okay, simple. This takes training. And I'm sorry for my pause, but I'm trying to show you this. Buddy, the puppy, is having a dream right now, and he's like barking in a really cute way. Let me see this. Okay, I'm sorry. Just had to say that. All right. It takes training. Repeat after me. It's not natural, but it will become natural if I keep doing it. It doesn't feel natural right now, but it will become natural if I keep doing it. You have to remember that. There is this idea that a lot of us have in mind that is actually a misinterpretation of an idea. The idea is follow your bliss. Do what you love. Do what feels good. Right? Oh, just do what feels good. Do what you love. Life is about fun and enjoyment. Just do what you love. Follow Joseph Campbell, the great Joseph Campbell, or Carl Jung. I forgot which one says this. Follow your bliss and everything will work out. Okay? What they meant was follow your bliss in terms of the longer term. Sort of like look at the themes of your life and the kinds of activities you've done that have led you toward true full joy, which is success, feeling of accomplishment, feeling of service, feeling of virtue. That's bliss. That's true bliss. Not, oh, I love eating potato chips. I love eating ice cream. So Joseph Campbell's or Carl Jung says, follow my bliss. I'm going to go eat a bunch of chips. Follow your bliss. I don't feel like doing my mental workout right now, so I'm going to follow my bliss and not do it and go check my email instead. That's not what that stuff means. Follow your bliss is for a longer term when you're thinking about stuff with your coach, you're evaluating, you're thoughtfully evaluating your life. Yes, follow your bliss and sort of the longer themes. When it comes to daily activities, the mantra is, what do I want? What are my key process goals? It might not feel natural, but I need to do it because it will feel natural over time. And then I will achieve my bliss. Okay? So that's enough for now. I truly hope this episode has been powerful for you. I've given you a wealth of tools that I have seen to be successful in my life, that the author of this book has seen to be successful in the lives of top athletes and top business people. Okay? And now the tools are yours. Please do them. Which tool do you want to implement now, starting today, to write them down, to start it first thing tomorrow morning? What are you going to do? I would love it if you could let me know in the comments area, in part to inspire other people who are going to be reading the comments, but in part to give yourself some public accountability. I will do this and I will report back. So this is how the public accountability works, right? You write down, I will do this every day, or I will do this 5 days a week, and I will report back on this date here in the comments area to let you all know what I learned and how I grew as a result. Okay? So until the next episode, remember that you have a powerful force in your life, whether you call it God or your spirit guide or the universe or your higher self. You have this tremendously powerful force in your life that is protecting you and guiding you, and perhaps may have brought this very episode to you. So until our next episode, do your highest work, do your key process goals. Be well.